welcome back to another episode of Stories from the Dirt. Today we have Lani and Lisa, and we're just going to dig in and find out how they're feeling. We're roughly a month out from the rally.
28 days, but who's counting?
Who's counting? I mean, by the time I air this, it's probably at least going to be 27 days. All right, ladies, tell me a little bit about your team name. I don't even think I know your team name.
Team name is Dead Reckoning, which
right.
is a navigation technique that I still don't fully understand, and apparently it is not very accurate, so we do not actually use it. But it sounds really cool.
It does.
And we have a cute little bat as our mascot, and some beautiful art that my friend Kristen designed. And yeah, we're both back for our second year this year. I competed last year with my navigator Danielle, and she wasn't up for it 2 years in a row, so Lisa jumped aboard. And yeah, Lisa competed in 2022.
Okay.
And I'll let her tell you about herself.
Yeah, so I competed in 2022 with Anna Lewis. It was my rookie year, and it was her fourth year. And I drove her FJ Cruiser primarily, and then we switched roles when we got to Glamis. So that was fun, really getting to see, how the Rebelle worked and everything. Unfortunately, we had some mechanical issues, so we didn't feel like we got to compete at the level that we really wanted to. And so I've had this, nagging urge to go back. And last year, I wasn't able to make it work out financially. So I decided to meet up with Lani, who had posted a meetup in my area. And I went, got to know her and Danielle and some of the other ladies, and kind of helped let them know what they were in for as rookies, because I had just done it. And then this year, Lani invited me on a training because she knew that I wanted to be more of a navigator and work on those skills. And so she was like, hey, do you want to hop in with me? Danielle can't make it. And by the end of that training, she was asking me to be her partner for this year. So
I feel like that was planned.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
Okay,
because,
so
you have to know how you get along in the car before you kind of ask that question.
Yeah, ideally.
But Lisa fully guessed. She's like, are you going to ask me to be your partner? I'm like, yeah.
She was asking some very pointed questions that I was like, I think she's going to ask me.
What are you doing in October? No reason.
For the 10 days in the middle.
Oh, yeah. You can get childcare for your kids. Maybe. For what?
Nice, Lani. Nice.
Yeah.
So you answered the question. Lisa, you're going to navigate. Lani, you're the driver. I've ridden with Lani before at a training, actually, and we burnt up in flames spectacularly trying to enduro together, having never really been in the car together before. So I know that you're in for a lot of laughs.
We do our best. Yeah. Yeah, that enduro haunts me, because I've told you I have done that enduro like 10 times, and I missed that turn every single time. And we even did it like 3 times in a row, and I missed it like all the time. Like it was insane. Yeah,
do you remember when I was driving and we were going miles per hour instead of kilometers, and I'm like, this feels really fast.
This feels like, and it's like huge dips like this. It's like really rocky. I'm like, it's 40 here. No, that can't be right. Oh, it's 20.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
We were just going the wrong speed. We weren't going. Somebody else was miles per hour. All I know is it was really fast.
It was really fast for what it was. Yeah.
We survived it, and the laughs were amazing.
Yeah. And at that time, I was like, I hadn't even registered yet. That was February of 24, this last February.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't even know if I'm going back again, but I just wanted to like hit the dunes again. Because, that last day in Glamis for us was so tough, because we, broke the truck. So I just wanted to show myself I could do it. And then So I wasn't going in it with a competition mindset. I am slightly better at endurance than that. But
It's hard to jump in with somebody new. It's
totally. And I had never called before, like I'd only driven. So
yeah.
trying to like put your brain into that space was really tough. But yeah, it was, at least we had fun.
Oh, it was a blast. So, all 3 of us have had vehicle problems on the rally, it seems. So, last year, we had
Yeah.
major vehicle problems for, like, 3 days. Lonnie, you broke was what did you break? I can't remember.
The front differential and the right front hub had to be replaced, which was, you know, we lost four-wheel drive. So we, and this was like 1 or 2 o'clock on the last day, and we were all the way over on the west side of the dunes, and we had to go, all the way up Sand Highway, like get out of the big dunes, go out to
Mm,
Sand Highway, all the way up Sand Highway, across, and then back down to base camp with no four-wheel drive.
wow.
Super
And
fun.
then Lisa, you said you guys had vehicle issues. What was yours?
Yeah, so the FJ wasn't able to really do steep inclines. It would, like, my RPMs would die out, like I wasn't gaining any more speed, even though my pedal was to the floor. It took a few days for for the mechanics to figure out what was going on, and we had like tracked the whole fuel system. And what ended up happening was we even had to do marathon like that. So then after the only marathon that year, um, they finally diagnosed it, and it was the filter inside the fuel pump. And the filter was
Um,
packed with sediment, and so the engine was being starved of fuel, so it wasn't able to
mm,
go up those steep inclines or those heavy grades with speed at all. So we limped into base camp, thought we were going to time out that night into Dove Springs, and it was a really rough night. One of the mechanics had to drive out to Vegas for a part at the 24-hour store, and then um, another person who actually owned an FJ actually picked up the part and met the mechanic halfway, so he didn't have to do all the driving.
wow.
And then they ended up getting that installed in the wee hours of the morning. I think it was like 4 a.m. So Anna was up all night at the mechanics. She couldn't sleep. And we did have to stay with the vehicle as well. And
Yeah.
then they were able to get that installed, and then we were on back on the start line that morning, and that was when we did Spangler, and it was like the most
Which
checkpoint
is
day
really
out
tough.
of that whole,
Yeah.
yeah, it was the most checkpoint day out of that whole rally, and it was a really hard time, and we got lost. And I went into
Yeah.
the day knowing we would get lost because I was like, my navigator has not slept a wink. Like, I just know something's going to happen. And it did, but we were in the mindset of like, we have to get through today. We have to get sleep. So
Yeah.
we ended up getting a good sleep the next night. But
Yeah,
and then the
from
FJ worked
exhaustion.
great. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Yeah, the mechanics are really amazing with the stuff that they just get done, but that's it. Like, I didn't know there was a 24-hour store in Vegas. I've always been like, "How did they source these parts in the middle of the night?" Like, I didn't know there was a 24-hour store. That answers a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you didn't have your vehicle fixed on the rally, Lonnie, since it was the last day?
Yeah, it was the last day. So when we were in that huge line running out of fuel to cross at the end of day 7, Danielle hopped out, ran over to Nick and the mechanics and told them what was going on. And they said, well, cross the line under your own power. If you can cross the finish line, cross the finish line, and then just come over here and we'll evaluate. And of course, I'm like spiraling because we don't have our phone. Like, I'm not able to problem solve because we don't have our phones. I'm
Yeah.
already thinking, how are we going to get home? you know, um,
Yeah.
because no one was meeting us there. It was just us, and she has to get back to her little puppy and all these things, and I'm totally freaking out. And then I'm thinking, this is thousands and thousands of dollars, and I broke the truck, and what, like, why did I not take better care of my third teammate and all of those things. But it ended up being totally fine. I mean, we didn't drive it home, but we found a rental car in Yuma, drove ourselves home. We were very lucky that Nick also lives in Northern California, so he's like, "This is
Mm.
not the plan. This is not what I ever do." He's like, "But I can tow this back home for you." And I'm like, "Thank goodness." And
Yeah.
he took it to a dealership that, so like, yeah, don't go in planning for Nick to tow your car home from you. He will, like, I
No.
got very, 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 very lucky. Um, but he dropped it off at a dealership, and great, thankfully I bought the extended warranty. So it was repaired under warranty. It didn't cost me anything. It was amazing. Um,
Nice.
yeah, so now everything has been mechanically sound all year as we've been training. Just one little issue in our tonopah training. um,
And what was that?
we scooped up quite a bit of dry brush on these overgrown trails, and it must have been smoldering under there for a little while, and then when we hit the blacktop, all that brush ignited under the exhaust. And Lisa, who has a great sense of smell, was like, "Is that burning?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think that is burning."
Wow. So were
So
there, like, flames? There were, like, flames coming out from underneath?
Lisa saw the
Or
flames. I didn't see
okay.
them.
Yeah, so I was like, well, let's pull over and just check. And so we pulled over and I was like, we're on the highway. This is the best time to do it. So we pulled over, checked underneath, and she ran straight to the hood of the vehicle, popped the hood and looked, and I immediately ducked down underneath and I saw flames. They weren't like huge or anything, but
Yeah.
there's still flames.
Any
So
fire that's not where you expect it to be or want it to be is not a great thing.
No.
yeah,
Yeah.
so then I like ran around to the back of the Bronco. We keep the fire extinguisher right there in the back. So I was able to get that really quickly, run over to the driver's side because that's the side that I had saw it was closer to, and then went ahead and put it out.
She just put
And
it out. That's it. That's all she did.
That's
Just put it
it.
out.
She seemed
Yeah.
so calm about it. I just put it out.
She
I
really
was
was.
Kept the
I was
vehicle from
so worried.
exploding, no big deal. I'd do it
I was
again.
so worried that there wasn't going to be enough like propellant in it.
Yeah.
To get it out. So I was like, Lani, get the water, get the water. And so she ran to the back and got our extra water that we carried. And she also thought to grab shovels to like throw dirt on it. So at the end,
Mm,
we just threw some dirt on it just to make sure it was completely smothered.
can't hurt. Just throw some dirt on it. It'll fix
I was
anything.
like, I can't tell if it's smoking or if it's the powder just like,
Yeah.
puffing out because it was windy too. So I'm like, we're just gonna throw
Oh,
some
yeah.
dirt.
Yeah.
And it put it out. And now we've talked about potentially even carrying another fire extinguisher because I felt like that was a small brush fire. It was in a tricky location up in the skid, so it was kind of hard to get to. But if it was like
But
a
but we
big
used it
fire from fuel or
all.
something,
Yeah.
like that wouldn't be enough.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
was that a 5-pound extinguisher?
It was a 5 pound. So yeah, I would encourage rebels to carry, one in a backup even. Um, because yeah, we nearly ran out, and it wasn't, there was still tons of fuel under there. There was still so much brush. I was cleaning that
Yeah.
brush out for days. Um, you know, it
Wow.
it's it can quickly become a very bad situation. But luckily, thank goodness everything is totally fine. I popped all the skids off and cleaned it out really well when we got home, and everything's looking really good. So
Oh,
Lisa,
good.
we don't have to run your Tacoma or get to.
Well, I'm glad
That's
that worked
always the
out for you
thing. It's like,
guys.
I don't know, Lisa, is the Tacoma ready?
Tacomas
Tacoma's
are
ready.
always ready. Yeah,
Yeah,
Tacomas are always ready. Um,
totally.
yeah. So we have this little, like, Southern Utah build. It's a little two-door JK 2012 Jeep, and my husband and my son had it on a run, and the power steering stuff, like, overheated and, like, I don't know, it started this small electrical fire, And so kind of the same thing, like all the dashboard lights up and one of them's like, "Oh, I smell something," and they get out and they pop the hood and there's flames. And then that is the only vehicle we didn't have a fire extinguisher in at the time. But fortunately, my husband was able to like blow it out. Literally, he blew it out. But yeah,
Whoa.
so yeah, ever since then, like we're up on the fire extinguisher. We learned our lesson.
For
But
sure,
yeah,
for sure.
having like I've never had to use one before, so that's interesting that like even the 5 pounder wasn't quite enough for. I mean, in the Rebelle, a brush fire under your vehicle is pretty likely of all fires. I
Yeah.
think.
Well, and I was laughing, and I should have been paying attention to my own foreshadowing, but we were like out there and I was like, oh yeah, like a couple years ago, Lola and her partner Noelle had a brush fire under their car. And,
Oh,
oh, I think it might have been here in Tonopah. Isn't that interesting?
it's always the case, right?
And,
So
I always thought like, oh yeah, I'm never going to use this fire extinguisher, but Lola told me different. And then 30 minutes, like literally 30 minutes later.
that is not funny. Uh, so Lonnie, this year you hosted at least one like practice weekend, right?
Yeah, we hosted just being that I kind of put it together, but yeah, I invited a few rookie teams and a few local teams and you guys. You weren't able to make it, but we all met up in Johnson Valley and we didn't do any enduros because I hate them, but we didn't do any enduros. It was mostly checkpoint hunting, but just an opportunity to go back to someplace the rally has gone through often. And I
Yeah.
think, Lisa, on your year, they didn't go to Johnson Valley, so we really wanted to go and just put eyes on all those places in an
Mhm.
in an in a non-competition setting, but in a competition mindset of if we came back here, what is important, what is not important, those types of things. So yeah, it was really great. It's always great to get together with a bunch of rebels, and especially when there's really cool rookie teams that school you on by doing really really well.
Yeah, the rookies
Keep
are
things
coming in
interesting.
hot, aren't they?
Oh my gosh, Grit and Grace, they are killing it. Yeah,
I mean, I think they've done every training that they can,
yeah,
which is
and
amazing.
I'm very impressed with them. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
they're
They're
definitely
great.
the ones to beat in my mind. They're really dedicated to doing well, and
Mhm.
we kept score because that's what we do in the Rebel, and yeah, they beat us.
Did you tell them that they beat you?
Oh yeah, we had
Everybody you
prizes.
compared sco Oh, you had prizes. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Alright then.
Yeah,
You
we
couldn't
had a couple of sponsors. Yeah, we had a couple of sponsors that put in prizes. We had Modal gave us their little cool infinity bands, and Kula gave us some custom Kula cloths, and then what was the other one? Something else cool. Anyway, a thing.
That's
There was a cool
fun.
thing. Yeah.
That's fun. When we hosted our practice weekend, I didn't keep score or have prizes. We had a barbecue
Well,
at the
there you go.
end.
That's a prize.
Yeah. So are you guys local to one another? Do you get together to train often?
We're about 45 minutes away,
Okay.
but we've been trying to focus our trainings on places the Rebel goes. So
Yeah.
we're mostly going out of town for our trainings. But we do like meet up, and Lisa and her husband have like every tool and a shop in the garage, and like been very kind to like get our terra trip in, and we have a whole list of things that need to get done in what was it, 28 days?
Yeah, something like that. So you guys still have a lot to do?
It feels like a lot. I'm hoping
Yeah.
I'm hoping the goes down,
Yeah.
in the next week or so.
I think it feels like a
Now
lot, but we have like plans to get it all done. So it's just everything has to go according to plan.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now I feel like it's when the panic buying starts. Like, we were in the Desert Rat last night looking for some hiking stuff, and I found, like, one of those dehydrated meals that's my favorite, and I was like, "Ooh, I should get this. I might need it." I already bought all my dehydrated food that I need, but I bought that too. I'm gonna take that with me.
Yeah, the Amazon cart is getting a workout for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I
Yeah.
decided not to buy a Silk bag, even though it was so cold last year and we're starting in the same place. I feel like we're going farther away, it's not gonna be as cold.
It's not as high. The altitude is not as
Right.
high. So my
Yeah.
hope is that it's not as cold.
Yeah.
I don't have a silk bag either, but man, if it's as cold again, I told Lisa I'm just leaving, so she'll have to finish the rally by herself.
And I told
My
her I'm
first
gonna have
year
to
Thank you.
lock her in the Bronco, like kidnap her, because I'm not
yeah,
allowed to do the rally by myself. So
right.
I need
You
her in
need
her
her.
Bronco to stay.
She's important.
It was so
Yeah, my
cold.
first year was your first year, Lisa, and our first base camp was cold, but it was nothing compared to Mammoth. Like,
Yeah,
nothing.
I was watching like Instagram stories. I think Emmy was posting like in her sleeping bag, being like, "There's like frost inside my sleeping bag," and I was like, "This is,"
Yes.
or like in her tent and like on her bag, and she was like, "This is crazy," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm kind of glad I'm not there," but I also had really bad FOMO. Like, I really wanted to be
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Liz, one of my friends, she was on another team, but we decided to share a tent. It was that cold. We thought like body heat would matter. And I must sleep with my mouth closed and she sleeps with her mouth open because it was almost a direct halfway line down the tent and her side it was icy and then there was ice on top of her tent and mine
Oh
wasn't
my
so
gosh.
bad. So it was shocking. It was shocking. So
Yeah,
I'm hoping.
I'm good, like, 35, 30. You get lower than that, like, no, I'm not interested. So, I really hope it's not as miserably cold at the beginning this year, but you never
Yeah.
know. We don't know where we're going. We just know it's 3 hours, 3.5 hours from Mammoth, so
We don't know where we're going. We don't know where we're finishing. We don't know where the gala is yet. All of this, we don't know stuff. Is it
yeah.
killing you? Did you buy a gala outfit yet? Because how can you?
No, I have no
Are
gala
we gonna be
outfit.
Me either. Is it gonna be indoors? Can I wear fancy shoes? I like to wear fancy shoes. Is it
You can
still gonna
always
be
wear
porta
fancy shoes,
potties? Not in the
probably.
sand like it sinks. I know these are rhetorical questions that obviously
Yeah.
it's gonna be porta potties and it's gonna be out in the elements,
It's
so
gonna be in the dirt. Yeah.
yeah, but it'll still be
Scorpions,
amazing.
possible. Yeah, yeah, it'll be good.
I know I'm trying to think of all like the picturesque places in like the huge expansive area that Emily said it was going to finish in. I'm like, where would
Right?
it be? Would it be here or would it be there?
I know there's wild speculations all over the place.
I feel like
So,
we should have like a Rebel like Super Bowl pot where like you can guess all the stops and like whoever guesses all the stops right wins the pot. Like we should all
oh,
put money in, and then like but I don't
that
know.
would
But
be
then there
fun.
are some people that know, so it's not really but I don't know. The staff is pretty good at not telling us.
Yeah, I think the staff is good. I do believe that the course stays, confidential for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I was out
but
in the Pismo Dunes with Emmy and Lynn Woodward. And I know they both worked, like, obviously, Emmy is there as hosting the live show, and Lynn was there at the end last year. And I was like trying to ask them leading questions, like, oh, yeah, isn't it so crazy? We're not going to Glamis. And they were like, we're not going to Glamis? Like, they didn't even know that. Like, you guys are useless.
okay, so you think we're not even going to Glamis? You don't think we'll,
Well,
like, make a just say, "Whoop," dip our toe in and then head back up?
um, I'm really not sure. I could see it both ways. I could see us dipping down into Glamis, and I could see us hitting, some other dune structures in place of Glamis.
Same.
Yeah,
Ugh,
I really don't know. Yeah,
it drives me crazy, the not knowing.
yeah,
That's the
exactly.
worst
Yeah,
part.
yeah.
It's the worst part. Okay. So you both have 1 year under your belt. You're coming back for your second years, new teammates, a new vehicle for you, Lisa. Lonnie, same vehicle for you. But so, like, how are you switching up strategies? Like, what's your communication? Like, how are you working out this new team dynamic compared to your first year?
Well, I think we're spending a ton of time together. Like we've been doing a lot of trainings. I was telling Lonnie earlier that I think after the training that we're doing this weekend in Sand Mountain with Nina, that it'll be like over 20 days that it will have just been the two of us in the car together.
Mm,
So we're definitely putting in the time together to work on our communication, and I didn't really do that before. And then we're just talking through like our thought processes for everything, and challenging each other a little bit on them too, to be like, well, did
mhm,
that work out for you, did that not work out for you, and then making adjustments from there, going out to another training and then trying those out and seeing how we like it. So it's been a lot of like what works best for us, because we hear a lot about a lot of other rebels talk about how they work in the vehicle, or on things, and it varies wildly. It's kind of like preference and like what works with your teammate. So we
yeah,
kind of decided to just try it all and see what sticks and see what we should just throw away.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And,
Yeah.
yeah, just get in a groove, figure out what works for us. Um, and yeah, like Lisa said, we didn't, Danielle, I used to work with her, or I still work with her a lot. So we sort of already had a lot of shorthand. But, Lisa and I don't have that history. So yeah, we spent a lot of time just like in the truck together, running through rally, like full rally days as much as we could.
Mhm.
Just figuring out, little systems and order of operations, and this is how this is going to work, those sorts of things. My problem is I'm gonna have to like cut myself off from iterating at some point, because I will iterate until the very last second if I'm able to, if I let myself, and then it's like, well, what are you even doing? Like you
Yeah.
you got to start, solidifying things. So hopefully that's what we will get done this weekend at Sand Mountain. That's kind of our like, okay, this is what we're doing. These
Yeah.
are all of our systems. This is everything we're sticking with.
This is the final version. This is what we're going with.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause I'm on my 3rd teammate, and no one teammate is better than another, for me, but every teammate is different. Like, my 1st year teammate, we got in the vehicle to do enduros, and I mean, we made mistakes, don't get me wrong, but I didn't realize how naturally we did enduros together until I had a new teammate, and I was like, "Did I forget how to do this? Like, this was so much easier last year," just until we figured out, like, how to communicate um, and so everybody communicates different, and so, like, even the little things, like, how are you gonna describe a right-hand turn? Is it 90? Is it a hard right? And so, like, it's so much. There's so much.
There's so much, and then particularly enduros are such a challenge, because it's so hard to practice. You can practice finding a checkpoint super easily, right? You just need a
Mhm.
map and coordinates, and then you need the means to get there.
Yeah.
Enduros is like you need a whole course. You need to do it safely, and you need that other person to be in the car with you. And then it's like driving, like two people driving. That's how it should be. Which is a really really tough thing to do. Um, yeah, it's tough, but everyone out there is running the same enduro. Everyone out there is maybe making the wrong turn or maybe doing this. So when people
Mhm.
say like, you know, it's hard. It's hard for everybody, I hope.
Yeah, last year last year it was either prologue or day 1, and we were supposed to make a turn, and the tulip had a fence on it. So I'm like, "Okay, we're turning at a fence." That fence, it was a short metal pole with barbed wire strung between it. The tulip made it look like a more substantial fence. So I was like, after
Yeah.
that day, I was like, I got back into camp that day, and, I think Chrissy was passing, and she asked, "How was it?" And I was like, "Well, I've learned I don't know what a fence is, and I need to reexamine that definition." So, like,
Right?
even
It's like
that.
it can be wildly different things, right? Like
Yeah.
there are these little pictures and you're trying and you have to be in the mindset of, well, could it be that? Like
Right?
you have to kind of magic tulip it a little bit.
Yeah. In my
Did I
mind at the
mention I
moment.
definitely like enduros?
Yes, yes. Lisa, what
Yeah.
is your feeling on enduros? Do they excite you or do they make you nervous?
Well, in 22, I drove almost all the enduros. There was
Okay.
only one that I didn't drive, and that was when the FJ really wasn't functioning, and like we couldn't even get it to really run right. And then
Mm.
I think the only points that we got ended up being thrown out because there was an obstacle on the course, like a broken down person who wasn't a part of the rally, and it was on the aqueduct. Do you remember that one?
Oh, I do. I don't think we didn't make that one. We had some
Oh.
time management issues that year.
Yeah, so that was the only one that I didn't drive, and the FJ just wasn't really driving itself. So, but all the other ones I did really well. I really enjoyed driving them. It's so different being in the navigator's seat,
Mm.
training with Lani, and then kind of knowing what I liked to hear and versus what she wants to hear is different.
Yeah.
So, kind of getting out of my head of being like, it's not about me, it's about her, right? And it's like,
Mhm.
what can I do to help her be successful in this moment? So, I don't know, I've kind of enjoyed it. It's stressful. I try to keep my voice really like mellow to not
Yeah.
stress her out. And
Lisa's background is in early childhood education, so it's a good fit.
Oh, that explains the nice, calm demeanor, tone of voice. You're very soothing.
oh,
Mhm.
thank you. Yeah, panic, like I don't panic under pressure because, I had to do that for
Yeah.
like
Tires,
15 years.
enduros, whatever. She can handle it. Yeah.
I'm just gonna put that out.
I'll just freak out
That
later. It's okay.
that that's gonna be my new saying. I'm just gonna put that out.
Yeah. Mhm.
Our
Oh,
favorite one is
I
we're just going to
self-blame.
drive to all the checkpoints.
Yeah.
We're
Oh
just
yeah,
going to,
that's the rebel. You just drive to all the checkpoints. That's all you do,
Mhm.
right?
so
Mhm.
Simple.
easy. You
Yeah.
just drive there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So in 22, actually, when I got home, my husband had been watching and like the tracker nonstop. And he was like, Nina did so good. Like she just went from like checkpoint to checkpoint. Like she just drove straight there. You guys were like stopping and waiting and like going up a road, coming back. And he's like, why didn't you just drive to all the checkpoints? And I was like, I was
why
like,
didn't I think of that?
yeah, I don't know.
You're
Mm,
right,
Maybe
Nick.
because it's really hard. So that's our thing
yeah.
is
But
we're just
then
gonna drive to all the checkpoints and it's just gonna be a great time.
yeah, just drive there. That's all you have to do.
So I once had Tara Lynn on the show, and I was like, "What is your secret to being the winningest rebel ever?" And she couldn't come up with any, like, secret, and, she and I are, like, in close proximity, we hang out every now and then, and she was like, "I figured it out, I figured out what my secret is." And I was like, "What is it?" And she's like, "It's not really a secret, you just get all the points that you can get." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Thanks." So, Tara Lynn is just gonna get all the points that she can get, and Nina's just gonna drive to all the checkpoints without stopping, so, I mean, yeah, that's, I guess, why they're
Yeah,
winning.
that's all you have to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. That's a good one. I like that.
I mean, but she's going into it with like a I'm going to collect all these points and maybe not focusing on the minutia of maybe I'm overinterpreting, but like that's a pretty solid strategy if you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna go get these points.
Yeah. So, yeah, her goal is not to win, her goal is to get as many points as she can, and if that,
Hmm.
in fact, puts her into the winner's seat, then so be it.
Yeah.
But so if she's gotten as many points as she can get, she's done the best that she can, and so I was like, "Well, yeah, that's I like that." I
Yeah.
scratched out my goal, win to get as many points as I can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, have you guys set a goal as a team?
Um, yeah, we have several goals.
Do you
Um,
mind sharing?
Stay friends, have fun,
Br mm,
do our best, drive to all the checkpoints. Yeah, like we obviously are competitive if we're doing this crazy game. But we want to play the game well. We want to play with integrity. We want to still, be friends at the end. Um,
mhm.
it's a really hard, really difficult thing, and just finishing is great. But obviously, we want to rank as high as we can.
Yeah. Yeah, and Lisa has something to come back and prove. She has unfinished business at the rally.
Yeah, Lani has unfinished business too. Like she didn't get to finish her Glamis day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But and it was so heartbreaking for me too. Let's just focus more on me now. Because I love Glamis. I love the sand dunes. Like that was one of the first places I took my truck when I got the Bronco. So for my truck to break in Glamis was like especially heartbreaking for me. Um,
Mhm.
but so now, yeah, I want to have I want to have a nice, successful rally as we defined it, um, and not break the truck.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, yeah. It's so heartbreaking when you roll into camp and you see vehicles that are broken because what just looking back, like what it feels like. You work so hard to get
Mhm.
someplace, and then someone lost, an hour or 2 hours, which is points. It's a lot of points. So
Yeah.
staying out of mechanics is a huge, huge goal.
Yeah, it is. I mean, last year, um, 2 days, we only made it about halfway through, and then 1 day, we cut it short. We got a little further than halfway in the day, but yeah, that's hard to take.
Yeah,
And then, we were in and out of the mechanics, and they worked on it for, gosh, 12 or 14 hours, throughout those
yeah,
3 days trying to figure it out, and it just yeah, it's a terrible feeling. Being the navigator and not the driver, like, I wasn't disappointed with my driver, I was disappointed with the situation, but for my
hmm,
driver, just taking on all that added stress of, the vehicle isn't working, that's my part of like and I was like, "No, it's fine." But, like, I'm sure now this year we're bringing my Tacoma to the table and Liz is the driver. So now I'm getting a little bit of a taste of that. Like, now I'm kind of responsible for the vehicle. And yeah, so I get that added stress too.
yeah, yeah,
And then, like
And
you
do you,
said, when go ahead.
no, it's okay. Finish your thought.
Oh, I just like when Lonnie was saying she didn't know if it was going to be fixed or how much it was going to cost, and then like, when your vehicle is acting up sort of in the middle, like should you keep going? Is it damaging the vehicle more than necessary? Like, there's all of these things that you don't know. And then, like Lonnie
yeah,
said, you don't have your phone, you can't Google it. If your husband usually helps you, like you can't call them up and be like, "Hey, broken down in the desert. What do you think's going on?" So it's just like it gets complicated.
for sure.
Yeah, so I don't think I for some reason.
Welcome
Can you hear me?
back.
Yeah. The
Hmm.
app shut off. It closed out. Sorry.
So I had somebody else I was doing, Angela Rickerson, when I had her on, it just kicked her out and she didn't get to come back. I'm gonna have to see if there's an issue. Maybe it needs an update or something. So
Hmm.
strange. Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Lani was saying that the pressure to put yourself like, I'm going to win. Hello? Did it kick you out again? Oh, she can't hear me.
Hey.
Yeah, it got me kicked out again. And then it wouldn't let me open it. I had to like restart my phone.
Oh, are you on your phone?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wonder. So when I go and investigate this problem that seems to be reoccurring, I can figure
Oh
out.
yeah. I only have good noise canceling headphones for Apple products and I don't have an Apple computer, so I
Okay.
decided to use my phone in case there were screaming children in the background.
We've had kids, dogs. Do you know Megan Wyrick?
Yes.
Mhm.
She is a girl in a Bronco. She opened up her Mac, and you know how, I don't know, Lisa, you don't have a Mac, but if you open up a Mac and you have your like your messaging running on it, if you haven't
Oh,
opened it
yeah.
in a while, they start like downloading, and her Mac was going like ding 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 ding, and that went on for quite some time.
Oh my gosh.
That was entertaining. That was
Yeah.
entertaining.
Megan
So,
lives like 15 minutes away from me.
oh, does she?
Yeah, she's just across the water.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've had them on a couple times. I've not met them in person yet, but I really enjoy them and I can't wait to meet them.
They hadn't met themselves in person for quite a while.
Yes, so I interviewed them the first time they were on, they hadn't yet met, and then we
Yeah.
did a follow-up after they met. So, that was funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
'cause, Gloria was talking about how Megan set up the car and picked her up and, like, Gloria's the navigator, and the seat was, like, all forward, and she was all, like, crammed up in it, and she was like, that has to change." I was like, "Yeah, that has
Yeah.
to change."
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So,
They're funny.
they're hilarious. They're hilarious. I'd live for their comedy on Instagram.
Oh my gosh. I feel like we were talking about something
So,
that you
yes,
had a follow up. Oh,
we were talking about the pressure that we put on ourselves when winning is our goal versus just getting points.
yeah. Um, yeah, I definitely want to. Well, like my friend Emmy, she would always tell me that she wouldn't look at the standings ever, and she's won a couple times, and I think that's just crazy. I don't think I could divorce myself that much, but I can sort of see why it worked for her, like just not, don't pay any
Okay,
mind, run your best rally.
but here's my question, like, then if you need to make an inquiry or something, like, if you're not
Re-
looking.
yeah, Rebecca would look. Rebecca would look at the
Okay,
standing. Yeah.
okay, so at least one team member has to look. Is it
I
like
I
knowing the sex
mean,
of the baby? Like, you can't tell the other person? Like, one person wants to know and the other one doesn't, so it's like this secret?
we
I
had
don't.
one really, really horrible day where I didn't. I mean, I it was the plot twist day, which I think a lot of people had a hard time with, and we had like one of our divisions of labor was Danielle kept all the paperwork, right? She has the score sheets and she has all the CP guides and the maps, and I'm like, it's easier if you just keep everything.
Yeah.
And after that day, she's like, I'm not picking it up. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, it can't. I'm like, you have to pick it up. She's like, no, you're gonna have to pick it up. And so I picked it up and kept it in my binder. And I looked at our standings. We actually went up 2 spots from the day before. Like we did,
Oh,
because we're all out there suffering. Like that's the perspective it
right.
kind of gives you, I guess. Like we're
Mhm.
all out there. If it's hard for us, it's hard for everybody else. Um, but I didn't. She wouldn't accept that piece of paper until like a few months ago. She didn't want to see it. She wanted to pretend like that day never happened.
That's hilarious. Yeah, there is sort of a comfort in like, "Oh, I'm not the only one that had a bad day."
Right?
It was a yeah. Oh, so it was hard for me, but it was hard for everybody else too? Okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah, for
It's
sure, for sure.
a little bit of guilt for wanting everybody else to be in that boat with me, but, yeah, I do if
But you
yeah,
didn't build the boat,
it
Emily
makes
built
me
the boat.
happy.
Yeah,
No, no, but it does make me happy.
yeah.
So, strategically, have you honed in on any new strategies coming in? Like you both have, like you practiced for year one, and now you're coming into year two. Have you been like, okay, well, in year one, I was hunting checkpoints like this, but in year two, like I think this is a better system.
Um, since my team was both since we were both rookies, I feel like I have we had so, what we thought it would be and then what it actually was. Lisa actually has the
Yeah.
experience of competing with a seasoned rebel, and Anna was an original rebel, I think. So she probably had a better idea of what to, or it was her fourth or something. Like she'd been quite a few years.
Mm,
Um, but going into the second year, we knew when it was happening. Like there's one blue checkpoint that we were convinced was not in the right place. Like that's and it was it would have been like a click and then keep going. It was one of those like, okay, there it is. And we were just convinced it was on the other side of the road. We had two or three teams on the other side with us. And we burned down probably an hour and a half and then found out later Lisa was watching us, our tracker, and I'm like, just click it, it's right there. But we burned up so much time on that checkpoint, and so that is a huge lesson for this year. Is it's gonna like those 7 points or whatever it was cost us an hour and a half of time and cost us so much more than if we had just left. So trying to be smarter about stuff like that is definitely top of mind. Um, and I don't know, Lisa, you have anything else we're going forward with?
Yeah, I mean, in 22, I primarily drove, so navigating the entire rally, feel like a rookie coming in, even though, I have the experience of going for all the rest of it. But I do feel like we had taken a lot of time, like triangulating in a lot of places, and I feel like we wasted a lot of time that way. We did set like timers on our watches, but if you're doing that multiple times throughout the day, it just eats up the time.
yeah.
So we've we haven't really prioritized that as a strategy to use going in for this year. But we have the skills and practice the skills anyway in case we need it. Or
Yeah.
if we get totally lost and are like, where are we? You know, I know where that is. Let's figure out where we are in relation to that.
Yeah. Oh, so that brings up a good topic. So, like here in southern Utah, kind of use the same areas and the same maps when I'm practicing because it's here, and I already have the maps. And so there's several features around that I can be like, okay, well, I know where that is. I know how to I know I can figure out where I am because I know that point and I see that point on my map. And so a lot of times people are like, seasoned rebels who have done it a lot of times. They're like, "Oh, they have such an advantage." But, I think their advantage, as Emily has said, is time in the seat. And then as we're
Hmm.
going back to these places, Glamis, for instance, like once you've been there a couple times, like if you're cued in, like you can be like, "Oh, well, that's the radio tower and this is the store and, those are the three boobs down south." And so I think that map, that is where the real kind of benefit comes into recurring or re-entering the rebel time and time again. Because like you said, I mean, they do frequent because of permitting. I mean, they
Hmm.
take a different course, but they're often in the same areas. So there's this thing down here in southern Utah and it's called Molly's Nipple on the map and it's like this point and it's flat and it looks like a nipple, and you can see that from so many places around town. So, like, I, can always be like, "Oh, there's the nipple. Oh, there's the nipple. Oh, there's the nipple."
Mhm.
And it's like it adds that it adds that level of, like, comfort.
Shorthand, yeah, you have that kind of, like, navigational shorthand.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I think, more than anything else, it's simple seat time and getting into those areas.
Yeah,
So and then honing in on your skills and your processes and yeah, my first year, I would look at the map, and 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 then my second year, I was like, "If I have to look at that map more than 10 minutes, I don't know where I am." Like, I'm moving on. I'm not clicking, I'm moving on. Clearly, I'm lost. Not
yeah,
lost, but, I'm not on the spot I wanna be on.
yeah, you're not on the
So,
black.
no, I'm not there. Ugh, and
Meanwhile,
then
someone's
last
at home watching you going, just click it.
yeah, and that someone is my husband.
Yeah.
My first year, we had a bad day, and I said to my teammate, "Ugh, Rob is just at home, and he is not happy." And she goes, "It's a good thing about being single. Nobody's at home disappointed with me." And I was like, "Okay, well, that's one benefit, but"
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's
Is
hilarious.
is Rob doing the thing where he's, like, meeting up with some husbands and following the rally, or is he,
Yes.
oh,
Mhm.
very
They
cool.
have
Yeah.
yeah. It's definitely he and Ross's husband, and then, Liz, my teammate's husband, will likely be in
Mhm.
the crew. And then I think this year they have a couple new ones, adding in. I know one guy that doesn't even have anybody participating. Like, he has friends participating, but he doesn't have a significant other, I should say. He was thinking of meeting up with them, so, like, I think they really like it. It's
Yeah,
a
that's
fun
awesome.
boys trip. Last year they did some trails, they broke a drive shaft, they lost some bolts, like, they had fun.
Nice.
My
Yeah.
husband would love to do that, but he's going to be holding the house down while I'm gone with the kids. So thankfully he's going to have
Well,
help, but
Yeah.
but
yeah.
yeah, otherwise he would be right out there loving to do that
Well,
too.
it's true what they say, the days are long, but the years are short, so we have adult children. I mean, I love having adult children, but it was just seems like yesterday they were little. So,
Yeah.
but I like adult kids. I do.
I hope so. You have
We
them.
do. Yeah. But we try to do family, dinner, most Sundays, and, like, they invite us over now. Like, this is
Oh,
working
nice.
out. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
it's fun. Anyways. So what else? What else are you guys doing to prepare in your last 28 days?
Oh my god.
Your last 28 days.
I mean, I want to be intentional with packing. That's always something that's tough for me is to have a place for everything and keep everything in that place. Like that's a real challenge. So,
Mhm.
trying to take less stuff, which, you know, is always a challenge for me as well.
Flips too many more times. I'm gonna do some research and try to figure that out, though. Alright. I wanna thank you guys for coming on and chatting with me tonight. It's
Yeah,
good to
thanks for
get
having
to know
us.
Lisa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for having us. It's been great. And it's good to
Like
get to talk to you. I felt like in 22, we both were in the Rebel together, but I met so many new people. It was overwhelming. I don't think I had a chance
oh,
to connect to you. So it's good to
yeah.
kind of finally meet you.
Super fun
Thanks,
chatting, and we'll
guys.
see you in 28 days.